Hello, everyone. Good evening and welcome to Workplace Conversations 3.0. It's a great privilege to have you all join us today, and I'm excited to have you here. We're just having tete-a-tete at the backstage with the panelists, and some of you who were early birds have reached out to say, hey, what's happening? Is this holding? Is it not holding? It is holding, and here we are. Such a great privilege to have you. Welcome. Can you please welcome one another in the chat? Let's know where you're joining us from. My name is Olumuyiwa Ludayo. I'm here in Lagos, Nigeria. Can you tell us where you're joining from in the chat? Just drop the chat, mute your microphone as well if you're not speaking right about now. I think I'm the only one permitted to speak for now. So try to mute your mic. Okay. So can we have you introduce yourself in the chat? If you are equipped with your LinkedIn profile, please drop it. Perhaps you'll find someone to engage with you very clearly. We do not want to come for this kind of events and not connect. I'd like to welcome you all. Thank you. Em is joining from Lagos, Nigeria. Deborah, Lagos, Nigeria. Hamza from Lagos. Okay. Thank you for joining. Ife is joining from the United Kingdom. Thank you, Ife, from the United Kingdom. Babajide, thank you from Lagos. Charles Kalu from Abia State, thank you. You are the first participant in the series coming from Abia. Dr. Muta Wilson, thank you for joining from Abuja. I saw you were also one of the early birds. Yilwan Chika, thank you for joining from Jos. Timitokwe from Lagos. Fadikemi from Lagos. Fumi from Lagos. The Lagosians are taking over here. Mr. Diwi, thank you also for joining from Lagos. Timitoke Fadari, thank you. Miriam from Osun State, my people. Thank you, Osun State people. I can boldly say I'm an indigene of Osun State. So great. Okay, are we meeting you all? Is that all? There's some other people have not seen their names in their chats. If you have your LinkedIn profile, please drop it in. If you have your LinkedIn profile, please drop it in. We will be starting any moment from now. Also name yourself very well. Name yourself very well. Somebody has just been named Zoom user. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Okay. Welcoming you to Workplace Conversations 3.0. Today, our conversation is going to be on the dilemma of getting credit for work done, how high performers can get credits, can get due recognition for their work. What is workplace conversation? Really, when we do workplace conversation, it's more than a webinar. It's a professional development forum where we try to reflect dialogue and strategic insights. Every workplace has its own undercurrents. Every workplace has its own tensions, personalities, and power plays. And workplace conversations as a forum of conversation, as a professional setting, offers a very safe and insightful space where professionals can get to gather. They can gather to unpack. They can gather to unpack the human side of work. That's exactly what we try to do here. We gather to unpack the human side of work. And each session that we've had, this is the third in the series, delves into complex realities of the workplace. We look at life through practical, experience-led conversations. And all the participants, all of you who are here on the call, you are equipped with tools, insights, and perspectives to lead with clarity confidence, and composure. This is where leadership meets lived experiences, and this is where knowledge translates into everyday workplace impact. Our goal in the workplace conversation is very simple. Our goal is to help you think better, respond better, and lead better in your everyday work life. I'm glad to be your moderator for this evening. And our conversation, again, like I said, will be centered around the dilemma of getting credit for work done, how high performers get due recognition. It's important to note that high performers consistently go above and beyond, yet they feel unseen when it matters the most, particularly when recognition, reward, or promotion is on the line. And so we're here tonight to understand why this happens and how individuals can respond constructively and what organizations can do or should do differently. And so for us, again, let me reemphasize that Workplace Conversations is not just a webinar. It is a space where we have professional reflections, very honest insights, and we have what we call actionable dialogue. Tonight, we are joined by three great panelists. We're joined by three great panelists, and I'm excited to bring them up on board. But before then, let me use this opportunity to acknowledge all our partners. Workplace Conversation is a product of Nathan Leadgate Consulting. And let me use this opportunity to acknowledge all our partners, our clients, and stakeholders, those who have allowed us to work with them professionally, and those who are giving us the opportunity to interact with them in their own journeys to creating value. Afloat Energies, Segilola, Resources Operating Limited, thank you. Sunlink Energies, Integrated Dairies Limited, Sarabel Logistics, More Engineering Services, For Pulley Limited, QHR Consult, Otaro & Co., Sourcing and Produce Limited. We also have AAO Salak, CIPM Nigeria, Chief Farms Limited, Greenfields Consultancy, Chartered Insurance Institute of Nigeria, Survey Nigeria, also known as Pan-African Catering Services. We have Pendaxia, our great partners, D. Brown Consulting, People Plus Management Services, Counterhouse Consultants, Mikano Motors Unlimited, Construct Technologies, NAC Apparel, just to mention a few. Should you not have seen your company's name here, you possibly have not engaged our services and you are considering it, we invite you to, we implore you to invite us to partner with you. So let me go straight into our panel session today. And I have one woman in the midst of three men. I don't know how she feels. Ochanya Odeme Osoro. She's the head of operations at Abdul Metro Group Limited. Hello, Ochanya, welcome. Are you here?
Yes, I am. Thank you so much for having me. Good evening, everyone.
Great, good evening and welcome. We have to do ladies first, before the men. We also have joining us today, Taiwo Olajide, MCIPMS PHRI. He's the HR manager for Survey Nigeria, also known as Pan-African Catering Services. Hello, Taiwo.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm happy to be here.
Okay, maybe I should say this for everyone. Maybe you just be learning something new today. Taiwo was one person who taught us another slant of Iraqi. It's an Arabic language, but has an Iraqi slant. And so Taiwo will normally tell me shakumaku. Shakumaku means what's up in Arabic. It's an Iraqi slant of Arabic, an Iraqi dialect of Arabic. So when I say shakumaku, you will say makushi. Makushi means nothing much. So shakumaku means what's up. Makushi means nothing much. Shakumaku, makushi. So can we all try it? Let's just be sure that you're all here with me. Can you unmute your mic if you can? And I'm going to ask you, shakumaku, you should please be able to respond makushi. If you cannot unmute your mic and speak where you are, you can type in the chat. I just want to be sure that you are hearing me and I'm not alone here. So everyone, shakumaku. Makushi.
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 Makushi. So go ahead and teach somebody that Shakumaku means what's up, and Makushi means nothing much. Is Arabic from the Iraqi descent. Okay, thank you, Taiwo. We have now expanded the scope of recipients of your greeting.
You're welcome, Doctor.
All right, so our last panelists are today Oluwafemi Ajayi, great man with many certifications. Oluwafemi Ajayi has an MBA, is an affiliate of CIPM and a CCP, Certified Compensation Professional. He's the lead for Total Rewards and HR operations at Segular Resources Operating Limited. Segular Resources Operating Limited is one company in Nigeria, and I dare say maybe in Africa, that has started to mine gold and sell her produce, haven't refined it commercially. I know the head of HR for Segular is also in the room. I'd like to especially acknowledge Mr. Shion Fagesi. Thank you, sir, for joining us today. Thank you for giving us the privilege of your presence. Hello, Femi, are you there?
My
Say hello
pleasure, sir.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, I'm here, Doctor. Thanks so much for the invite, and good evening to everyone.
Great. Okay, now that we are here, we've met our panelists. I want to first of all start. Let's start tonight by looking at a poll. I want to launch a poll. Everyone will have to take this poll. It's important that we take this poll. The first question. I want to launch the first question. Can you see the first question on the poll? Or how many questions are you seeing? Can you see the question? Hello, everyone. Can you answer me? Can you respond, please?
We can see
yes,
two questions.
we can see the
All right, please. Can you respond? Can you see the two questions? Please respond.
Yes, we can.
Okay, please respond. Let's see. Have you ever felt that your hard work or exceptional contribution at work was overlooked? This poll, your response to this poll is important. It guides us in our conversation today. Remember, it's anonymous, so we don't know who's responding. So feel free and feel safe. The workplace conversation is a very safe place. The second question says, which of the following do you believe is most essential for ensuring high performers are adequately recognized in the workplace? All right. Only about 40% of us have taken the poll. I'm expecting more people to please respond to the poll. About half of us have just taken the poll. Let your voice be heard today. We really would love your voice to be heard. Okay, we're still taking the poll, expecting more people. We are 40 on this call. Only about 24 of us have taken the poll, taken the test. Can you take some more? Can you respond? Thank you for those. Thank you to those who are responding. Thank you. We've got 64% responses now. And it's moving up to 67. Now we are on 70. You're all doing well. Thank you very much. You're doing well. Respond. Let your voice be heard. I'm going to share the result with you very soon. You possibly want to take a screenshot of the result because it may form a conversation. It may give you data, sufficient data to have conversations in your own space subsequently. Looking for the remaining 15% of people who have not yet responded yet. We are at, okay, pardon me, 25%. We are at 75% now. Don't change your mind. Don't change your mind. Okay, thank you. In about a minute, I would end the poll. In about a minute, I'll end the poll. All right, I'm about to end the poll. I'll do a countdown of 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. Okay. The poll is ended. I'm going to share the results so that you all can see. You can take screenshots of the result, and this will form the conversation as we begin this evening. The majority of those on this call say that, yes, the question is, have you ever felt that your hard work or exceptional contribution at work was overlooked? 29% say yes, frequently. And then 55% of our audience here says yes, occasionally. But truly, I think the response here is yes. We all feel that as professionals who are hardworking and who bring our best to the place of work, 84% of us say yes, that we often get overlooked. And we're asking ourselves second question, 84%, that's a high number. And for those of us who lead organizations, I think this is good information for us. If 84% of the people who work say they often get overlooked, it's food for thought. The second question says, which of the following do you believe is the most essential for ensuring high performers are adequately recognized? And then it's just one that stands out. 80% of this call say transparent performance review processes. Transparent performance review processes. It just suggests, therefore, that many of us don't believe in the performance review processes of our organizations. We'll come back to that. I will stop sharing now so that we can get really into the conversation. Thank you all for participating in the poll. Let me take a few thoughts from our panelists. What exactly do you think? What do you think? Do you think, what does that poll suggest to you? Taiwo, what do you think the poll suggests to you? Let's look at the first question. Taiwo, they say, I mean, many people say that, yes, they occasionally get overlooked. Well, how does that respond to you? How does that resonate with you?
Well, I'm going to be very honest. I mean, I'm one of those who ticked yes occasionally. Yes, because I think we can't overemphasize that people love to be appreciated. A lot of people may not necessarily want to show it, but deep down, you appreciate, being recognized for work done, especially if you know that you are putting in your very best and your best has been good enough. I mean, it's like giving somebody money and the person just walks away, doesn't say thank you, to be like someone has stolen from you. So I do feel that occasionally I have not been, recognized for what I do. But I must add that the caveat there is, are you sure that you are adding value? Because sometimes people think they are adding value and they are not really adding so much. So if you are sure that you're adding value, of course, you like to be appreciated and recognized for what you put in.
Thank you, Taiwo. Appreciate that. Ochi, can we hear your thoughts on this report, these results? What are your general thoughts on the result? What does it resonate with you as? In case you're speaking, you are muted though.
Okay, so sorry. I actually also clicked on yes occasionally, right? And that's because the engagement I've also had at work stems from the fact that people feel I've done so much, but the management does not, you know, that word management does not seem to recognize what I'm doing. And the question I'll usually ask there is, I think there's also a disconnect between what the expectation of what the recognition should be and what they are getting. So that's why yes occasionally stood out for me, you know, because sometimes, you know, when they say the expectations should not be cut short. So if I expect that to be recognized, I should be announced during the staff general meeting and say, oh, Ochanya was fantastic at this. And maybe what I'm getting is just within my department. To me, I might feel like I'm not being recognized or I'm being overlooked. Or when I do something and then Ochanya did this, but when the recognition is coming, you hear something like, oh, the department, you know, performed greatly. So there are different aspects to look at it. So that's why for me, yes, occasionally, you know, I would say stood out for me. Yeah.
All right.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much, Ochi. Femi, what are your thoughts? People are saying here that majority of the people say they feel that they are not being recognized enough.
Yeah, thank you. Sincerely, this is a reflection of workplace dynamics. You know, it tells that we all work, you know, in different in workplace environment. And of course, our view to this will, yes, our view to this will differ. So I actually chose yes occasionally. And my reason for this could be of two dimensions. It tells that, yes, there are times that my contribution, my exceptional performance have been acknowledged. Yes. And there are times that might not be acknowledged. It could be as a result of oversight. It might be intentional at times, and it might not be intentional at times.
Okay.
So, thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, our panelists. And that was just to break the ice. I also want to specially recognize on this call the MD of PAX 7 Nigeria, Ms. Leia Kingwe. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. It's just a great honor to have you join. I could spot you out when you joined. Don't worry. Whether I just saw that you were the one that came in. It would be good to hear your voice say a word to us just to, you know, let us know you're here. We said a bit about the organization earlier. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, Doctor. Oh, sorry, I've lost my voice.
Oh, wow.
I wanted to come in only quietly, but thank you for this program. I'm just here to listen, really. I can't talk much. I've lost my voice.
No problems. I just wanted to acknowledge you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I'm here supporting my own. So
okay.
thank you.
You have the support of your MD already.
Thank you, ma. I'm honored.
Femi, you have your head of HR also supporting you. I mean, Ochi, who did you bring here?
Thank you so much for that.
Okay, so let's go on. Let's talk to the panelists. The first question here for me is, let's begin to examine the roots of the problem. Why do so many high performers find themselves overlooked? Even when the results of their work are very evident, why do these high performers feel like, hey, nobody's looking at me? So Ochai, I'd like you to go first. Is this primarily a structural issue within the organizations, or is it just a symptom of leadership blind spots? Which of it is really the problem? Is it a structural issue within the organizations to just overlook high performers, or is it a symptom of leadership blind spots? Ochi. Ochi, if you're speaking, your mic.
Okay, yes, please. Okay, thank you. So for me, it's actually, I'll look at it from the angle of a systemic issue with individual leadership blind spots as an accelerator. So what do I mean? Let's look at it from being structural. So in organizations, sometimes you see cases where things are not clear, right? So things are not clear, or the recognition framework is not transparent. So you now have a situation where people are working, and then maybe HR says things like, "This is what the key performance index is going to look like," and at the end of the day, you see that you're not being rated as per what the index should be. And then you now see your manager, or maybe some decision makers within the organization say things like, this guy does not have character. And then you begin to ask yourself, is it about my character, or is it about the job that I was given to do, or my task? And what percentage did my character have? And then when you're scaling my character, what yardstick are you using? So you begin to hear things like, oh, he doesn't even greet in the morning, he just passed me. And then there's a lot of sentiments that come into play, and things like that. So for me, I would say that it's systemic, and then it stems into leadership. Because as an employee in an organization, you think that you're doing your bid, but then is your bid in line with the organization's is your bid in line with how the business owner or the HR? Because sometimes there's even the puzzle around HR. HR says things like, oh, your appraisal is on so day, your manager has rated you XYZ, and then when it comes to a decision to be taken about you, you hear things like, I'm sorry, you are going to be placed on PIP. And you'll be asking yourself why. But you might just be shocked that there was a particular day there was an event in the office and you refused to volunteer. And those are the things that begin to play against you. So there's a lot of organizational politics that plays out in things like this. I'll just stop there for now.
Okay. Femi, what are your thoughts around this? Is it purely a structural issue to get overlooked, or sometimes is it because leaders are just blind to that side of high performance?
Thank you, Doctor. To me, I would say is interplay of both. Yeah, that is what I'm going to say. Because let's consider the structural issues now. An organization with structural issues, so definitely there will be performance management issue in that organization. And of course, under performance management, we can say when there is, ineffective or outdated performance appraisal system, it makes, individuals' performance to be unrecognized. Yeah, and likewise, under performance management system, we can say when there is lack of, clear promotion criteria, it becomes an issue. We can also talk of organizational design. Is a root cause to this problem. When there is, poorly defined roles and responsibility, it's very difficult to know who one is accountable for.
Okay.
So that is under performance management system. I would say poor communication also could be an issue under structural matters issues. Poor communication is a big issue. Now, when I talk on leadership, now let me talk on leadership blind spot. Regarding leadership blind spots, there are a lot of unconscious biases in the system. And this prompts a lot of issues. It could be intentional. And there are times that it could be unintentional. That is, I'm talking of leadership blind spot. You know, the moment there is bias in the system, it makes a recognition to be very, very difficult. And under leadership blind spot also, we can talk of a lack of awareness. There are times as a result of the workload, or as a result of the location of the employee, the boss may not really, be able to quantify what he has done, or may not be able to be aware of what he is doing. As such, there will be a lot of gap of recognition.
Yeah. Great.
So at the same time, we can talk of failure to recognize and appreciate. It is when you are aware, you will recognize. If a boss does not, if a boss is not aware, it will be difficult to recognize. But now let's assume the boss is aware now. Failure to recognize and appreciate is a huge issue. And as such, it hinders, it demotivates employees.
Yeah.
So that is why I said it's interplay of both.
Okay.
When there is bad structure, it will be challenging to recognize employee as at when due.
Yeah.
And at the same time, if let's assume there is a good structure in place, if we have a leadership issue, it becomes difficult for such an employee to be recognized.
Yeah.
So let me stop for that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Taiwo, I want to come to you, and people are asking me that am I speaking with angels? They can't see any of you, so they can only see myself. So I will need you. I know you're trying to manage your bandwidth. Nigeria can be this challenging. For our friends joining us from the UK, don't judge us. We're getting there. Okay. Taiwo, what exactly do you think is the extent that internal politics, personality dynamics, and cultural factors also shape recognition practices in today's workplaces? To what extent do you think internal politics, personality dynamics, or even cultural factors, to what extent do you think it shapes the recognition practices in today's workplaces? Hello, Taiwo.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Doctor.
Are you an angel or you are a human being?
Well, I'm both. I'm both.
They want to see you. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, let me try to.
Okay, so.
Okay. I hope I'm not blood. Anyway.
Go ahead.
Okay, am I audible, Doctor? Okay,
yes,
so
go on.
I think we can't isolate these factors. They do play a major role in recognition. Internal politics, we may try to shy away from it as much as possible, but it's the reality of workplace. It's one of the workplace dynamics that would affect you one way or the other. So it depends on how you play your part in it or you manage it. And it will affect your performance for good or otherwise. These factors, they significantly shape recognition practices. How? They can influence how an individual perceive and experience it, or how it's ultimately implemented. You want to know that, oh, this person is closer to top management, it's closer to the MD, or what have you. And as such, there's always that question mark over, competence, or to degree or extent to which recognition is dished out. You always find people thinking, oh, this person is occupying this position because he or she knows this person, not on merit. And internal politics is so powerful that it can so demotivate a person that you get to a point where you feel you need to exit to have your sanity. But what I do feel is that you have to focus on yourself first and be sure that you are adding value. Because I said in my intro that sometimes you believe strongly that you are doing so well. I was in a training a few days ago, and I was giving an example of someone who actually joined us. Well, I can use our organization. About 5 years ago, she joined and she felt she was doing very well or she was improving, but she wasn't doing very well. Our team, our colleagues felt she was slowing them down. They didn't feel she was a good addition. They felt she was slowing them down because she was too slow. Her learning process was too slow for them. So the manager tried to manage her, to encourage her to step up, but it wasn't visible. So because the teammates and colleagues were adamant that no, this is a negative to the team, the manager had to scream, had to reach out to HR. We invited her and said, okay, you need to do more. What you are doing is not so difficult. She went back. It became worse. They just couldn't help. So, okay, we said, this is probationary period. We can have a conversation. By the time she clocked 3 months, it was obvious that we had to exit her. So I invited her and I said, see, everybody in your team said, you are not doing well. She said, and I thought I'm doing well. So I said, unfortunately, it's either you are doing well or you are not a good fit. And we had to let her go. It was one of the most emotional conversations I've ever had. I'll never forget that. She left. She couldn't even wear her shoes. She walked barefooted out of our premises because she was broken. So sometimes you feel that you are actually doing well, but you are actually not doing enough. But our focus is on those that are actually doing well, I believe. So internal
Yeah.
politics is something that you cannot shy away from because
Yeah.
it breeds a lot of confidence on those who can play it well, and for those who cannot, maybe those who are I'm talking about personality dynamics now. If you are
Mhm.
very introverted, you like to do your work. If you are giving credit for it, fine. If you are not, you just want to go on to the next task. But if you are very extroverted, you want to be appreciated for what you do. You love to be recognized, and you take it very seriously. If you don't get it, it becomes a problem. So that is where personality dynamics can come to play in terms of recognition. I like to stop there for now.
Thank you. Thank you. I particularly like the issue around internal politics. And I know last month when we were here together, and Jay, I see your questions. We'll come back to that. So last month when we were here on this Workplace Conversations 2.0, one of the things we talked about was power interest matrix. You see, the challenge of politics is in knowing the interests of all the stakeholders. Sometimes the reason you are not getting recognition sometimes is purely because the stakeholders don't find their interests being met. The things that concerns them are not being addressed, and that becomes an issue. You may think you're doing your work very well, and so, but it's not being addressed. Again, somebody may think you're doing very well, but you are in the camp of the powerful, or you are in the camp of the less powerful, and they don't want those kind of dynamics to happen. They want to empower their own clique in that sense, so that if their clique begins to get promoted and get some visibility, it allows them to begin to do something. I mean, if you were not here with us last month, we will possibly share the link of the video for last month with you so you can get on it, where we talk about power interest dynamics. Ochanya, let me come to you and hoping that you will show people that you are not an unseen angel. I want us to consider the role of the individual. How can high performers ensure that their contributions are visible? There are a number of people on this call today. The reason they came here is because they are high performers. and they don't think their contributions are recognized. But the question is, how can our high performers ensure that their contributions are visible? I'd like you to speak to the fact that, to the question of what are some of the dignified and effective ways that professionals can advocate for themselves at work? How can I advocate for myself at work and let people know that I'm really doing the job? Archie.
Okay, thank you so much. It's been a very insightful conversation, and I think this is a very critical topic because I would like to say that a lot of valuable employees keep leaving organizations because they don't know how to, permit me to use this word, package their progress reports, package their progress, package their contributions, and as such, they get frustrated and then they leave. So I'll just share a few things that I use and what has helped me. And I want to believe that it will help some of us today. One of the things I do is that I document every achievement, every accomplishment, every idea that I'm contributing to a team or a project. And then, so before documenting, for every time that there's a project coming up, I'm very quick to want to be part of it. So one thing that you can identify with high performance is that they don't lag behind. They don't shy away from responsibilities. So I want to believe that today I'm speaking to people that hold the fort in their organizations that are actually doing these things. But check what you're doing. Are you documenting these contributions that you're making? Because I've also noticed that when we go for our appraisal sessions, you don't remember some of these contributions that you have made. And remember that I used a phrase in my opening remark. I said, bringing forth your strong reasons, right? So when you come and they say, oh, on this project, what was your direct input? And then you begin to say, oh, we worked as a team. That's vague. Remember that the people interviewing you already have, from the internal politics angle, personal biases. There might be somebody else that they consider fit for that particular role or opportunity that is coming up. So one thing you should not play with is documenting your accomplishments. Very important. I don't joke with that. Another thing is communicating value clearly. Some of us, we just do things very vaguely. In meetings, how do you contribute? Some of us say things like, I would not want to share my opinion just in case it might not be accepted. I think one thing that brought Dr. Luda, you and I close about 12 years plus ago is the fact that if I have an opinion on that subject matter, I would do well to share it and drive it in. So do you communicate clearly in meetings, or you belong to the team where I will tell my boss about it? Now, I also believe in seizing opportunities. It's not every time that you might have the opportunity to sit with the decision maker or your MD or the CEO. So when you are with them, do you seize those opportunities? So you might have a direct issue with your line manager, but do you have the issue with your CEO? I've seen countless cases of staff that do so well, and we never got to know about them till we just had a roundtable conversation, and then you just begin to hear their ideas. And I'm like, where have you been? And before you know it, these guys begin to do so well. So communicate your value clearly. Somebody might ask me, oh, there are instances where I tried and I was shut down. Don't stop at it. Keep doing it and keep measuring that what I'm communicating, the results it had. There's one thing to make suggestions. There's another thing to follow through implementation. Right now, some HR conversations and meetings I've been in, I've been saying that we have most talkers than doers in the work environment. So a lot of people have become strategists and we have little operations. Anyways, that's conversation for another day. Another thing I also do is request for constructive feedbacks. So some of us, we feel that when we get constructive feedbacks from our line managers, it means that they don't like us. So you have to check yourself as a high performer. Are you willing to actually take these feedbacks, and how do you receive them? Some doors has been shut to me in time past because of how I received constructive feedbacks. I saw it as an opportunity for my line manager to shut me down, and as such, I began to revolt. Now, revolting is not necessarily when you are outrightly saying, no, I don't deserve this, or no, sir, this is not how it is. It can be from your body. It can just be that you are usually the contributor and then suddenly you've gone silent. So requesting for constructive feedbacks, and then how you take it, how you implement those feedbacks that came in, is also very important. I've talked a lot about speaking up in meetings. That's a high point. Please don't joke with that. Now, building strategic relationships is very important. Building strategic relationships. One of our panelists today mentioned something about, I think it was you, doctor, that said it, about the fact that they want to project somebody that belongs to their own clique, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then I begin to ask you, what clique do you belong to in your own organization? Gone are the days where you say, no, I don't belong to any clique. Go and find the one that is working. Some of us, as high performers, we choose to, and that's about organizational politics. I believe that workplace, we're going to do something and dig deep into organizational politics, because a lot of people feel, oh, I don't want to get involved. If you don't get involved, you stay out of it. And at the end of the day, we'll come back to this table saying you're not recognized, right? So build strategic relationships. What's your relationship with your line manager like? What's your relationship with your line manager's friend like? One thing I also learned in the few years that I've been opportuned to do this is, my line manager, I might not be in the best relationship with him or her, but I can be in the best relationship with their affiliates, like we call stakeholders. And then when my matter comes up for conversations, they begin to say, oh no, is it your child you're talking about? No, she's a performer. Oh. Have you seen what she did on this project? Have you seen? And then before you know it, the yeses silences the no's. Right? Lastly, I still have a whole lot, but I'll talk about volunteering. Opportunities always come up in organizations. But some of us as high performers, what we like to do is, we're so good that we want to be called. Now, every point I'm sharing is from life lessons, and it has helped me. Oh, Ochaya is so good. She's going to deliver. If you don't call me, I'll not get involved. Hello? In today's world of business, you're going to stay out of it. Because the time has gone where people are looking for you to get involved. They are looking for people to volunteer and get the job done. So what I now started doing was, oh, is this what is happening? Oh, are we doing a revaluation of this thing? Oh, there's this asset thing going on. Oh, yes, I have an idea. And then before you know it, you begin to become team leads of a lot of projects that you don't necessarily have to execute yourself. You are now in charge of gathering the people that will execute those projects. But guess who takes the glory for that project? You. All of the points I have raised this evening, remember, I never mentioned you saying, sir, do you know that I'm the one that did this? No, themselves. That way, nobody says, Ochaya, you are showing yourself. No, it's your results that begins to announce itself. That's the approach I take, and it has worked.
Amazing, amazing. I can see many people clapping for you in the chat. You are dropping fire here. You're dropping fire here, and I can see a number of people are rooting for you. Let me go to Femi. Femi, please. I'm going to come back to the question that have been asked. We're still talking about what is the role of the individual. Femi, I want to ask you: is there a place for mentors or advocates in championing the visibility of high performers? Is there a place for mentors or advocates in championing the visibility of high performers, particularly in the organization? Is there a place for those people? I mean, I don't want to call it godfatherism. I don't also want to call it politics, but is there a place for mentors and advocates, those who will be voices in rooms where you're not present? Hello, Femi, are you there? wow. Did I lose Femi on this call? All right, I think he possibly dropped off. The Nigerian challenge of network. I'm sure he's possibly worried wherever he is right now. Taiwo, let me come to you, and I'll leave that question for Femi to answer. Taiwo, my question to you is this, and let me confirm Taiwo is here.
I'm here, doctor.
Okay, Taiwo, what behaviors or mindset hinder people from getting the credit they deserve? Some people have very subtle behaviors or mindset that hinder them from getting the credit they deserve. They've worked very hard, but they have very subtle, albeit not so behavior. How do we ensure that these things get addressed? What are those behaviors or mindset that hinder people from getting credits? Taiwo.
Okay, thank you, doctor. There are quite a number of them. One of those is insecurity and lack of self-promotion. You know that you are very competent, you are a high performer, but for one reason or the other, you do not feel confident enough to put it out that I've done this, I've done that, because you don't want to be criticized. You don't want anybody to see you as being arrogant or being boastful. You don't want anybody to look down on your performance. So you have to work on yourself and be so confident that to own your own achievements, you have to own it. No one can own your achievement. Another thing is underestimating your own contribution and overestimating the contribution of others. Okay, you collaborate on a project and somehow you feel you haven't done enough. You feel others have done way above and beyond, and you just let your own contribution wither away. You know, you have to own it. You have to be audible. You have to have that self-confidence that yes, I did it. I was able to do this. One of the things I take pride in, you know, I added it to my CV a few years after I joined my organization. But I saw a challenge in form of pension remittance, and I felt, oh, what am I going to do? And before we got to this point of online remittances and all of that, where you have to go to the banks, you have to go from one PFC to another PFC. I had to sit down. It was like a research. I went online and I was looking for the contact of Stanbic Trust Fund, Crusader, about 9 to 10 different PFAs. And I had to collate the custodians and the various steps that you would just go through to remit this pension. It was a tedious process, but I owned it. I owned it because I became so good at it that I didn't hesitate to just, is one of the achievements I'm always proud of. And there is no one that will take that away from me. Even the person I met there, nobody will take it away. And it became, even the person I met confirmed it when he left. He had to reach out to me and say, oh, Taiwo, please, can you put me through how to do all of this? And I was like, yes, I did this. So it's very important. Do not underestimate your own achievements and overestimate the contributions of others. You can give them their props, but you deserve your flowers. If nobody is going to sing your song, you have to sing it by yourself. So that's another thing that mindset does. And another thing is some people have difficulty in articulating their impact. They know that they have contributed, but they just don't know how to communicate it. And sometimes that's why it's very important to document, because if you don't document, nothing written, nothing done, nothing said. You have to document these things. So if you don't know how to communicate it, if you have a good relationship with your direct reports, your line manager, they would communicate it for you. So another thing is fear of failure. Some people they're just so afraid to fail. The guy who invented the light bulb, he failed about 99 times. And if you ask him today, he will tell you gladly that I know 99 different ways of how not to do a bulb, and I know one perfect way of how to do a bulb. So if you are very scared of failing, you have to fail forward. Fail forward. If you don't fail, you don't learn anything. So some people are just very afraid to fail, that they would rather just be introverted about the whole thing. Then also another thing is it's a offshoot of maybe workplace dynamic. In a place that is perceived to be toxic, maybe you have a line manager that doesn't give you a voice. It will be a bit difficult to, articulate or project your contribution. If you have someone who thinks that you don't do enough, then at a point you start feeling, maybe I don't do enough. But it's still important to document and hone your own achievements. So those are some of the mindsets that can affect undermine one's recognition.
Thank you, Taiwo. Thank you so much. I want to appreciate Chineye for your thoughts. I mean, I see that you're documenting for all of us on the call. I mean, if you look into the chat, you can see Chineye's notes are full. So you possibly want to go into the chat if you have missed any thoughts. Again, I think some documentations are going on there in the chat. Yeah, people are dropping their thoughts. It's important that you do so. Thank you, Isaac, for also emphasizing that documentation is key. If you don't write it down, you possibly cannot remember it. Write down the vision, make it plain. It gives energy to the feet of those who will run with the fruits of your labor. Femi, are you back now? I knew you had a challenge a bit.
Yes, I am back. Apologies for that.
Nigeria does their thing. So there was a question for you, and I ensured that nobody took your question.
All right, Doctor.
Is there a place for mentors in championing the visibility of high performers? I work in an organization and I'm thinking, I mean, does my mentor have a place, my advocate? Some other people call it a sponsor. Is there a place for such people in championing my visibility? Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much. In any organization, I would say that there is a place for a mentor, and at the same time to have an advocate. Yep. Okay, let me start from this angle. Who is a mentor now? I would say a mentor is someone who guide and support or advise an employee as a result of his or her own experience to improve performance or to improve certain skill required by the employee. Yep. And why an advocate? An advocate is someone who promotes and supports, who supports and promotes. So for individual to earn recognition in an organization, there is need for this both. If you have a mentor in an organization, you will know what to do to be known in an organization. You will know what to do to be recognized in an organization and what not to do. Now, when you have an advocate promotes. They take you to the next step of your ladder. So it tells us that these two are crucial when it comes to recognizing employee in an organization. Having connection with an advocate goes beyond your department. Even when the department, I've worked in a place whereby then there was a kind of issue in the department. And what saw me through then was an advocate outside the department.
Wow.
So it tells us that when you have when you have an advocate, it helps a lot to navigate through some challenges in the workplace. So both are needed to survive as employees in any organization. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We're getting the crux of the matter, and I think many of the issues are on our hearts have been addressed already. And I'm grateful to everyone who is here, and thank you for the conversations going on there. Okay, so I really want to try to wrap this up in a good time because many of us are going to work tomorrow. Now let's turn to solutions. Ochai, I'm coming to you now. We're turning to solutions, and we're turning to solutions, particularly at the organizational level. We have recommended many things at the personal level, and now let's check out some mechanisms that should be put in place to ensure fair and consistent recognition. Ochai, for you, I'd like to find out what alternative frameworks exist to recognize contributions between formal roles and KPIs. What alternatives exist besides these formal roles and KPIs? Many people just use KPIs, and besides KPIs, there's nothing more.
Okay. Yes. Alternatives for recognition. So there are some organizations that have been privileged to work with that we have some benefits. I would like to use the word. So apart from, there's also the employee tied to the KPIs that is now very subjective. So we now have things that can work, tying things to projects. So breaking our daily to-dos, breaking our daily job descriptions to projects has really helped. So after 6 months or biannual appraisal session, what we now do is, on this project, who are the executors of this project? What was the contribution of each participant on this project? If we talk about the annual appraisal system that has to do with the entire organization, people already start getting recognized for their contribution. So that has worked, and that has been very effective, and that has also helped people become seen. So so conversations in the office started like, oh, we were the ones that that we were the ones that handled this power project. There was a power project that we started. We were automating our power system in the office, and I saw how the head of the facility team took over the project. It no longer was the management's project. It became my project. So I would encourage organizations and business owners to shift from making it a company's project to, this is your baby, this is your child. How would you handle this thing? And then listen to them. You'll be amazed the kind of solutions that actually rest within the executors of projects, as against you just having the framework for them, follow this step by step by step, and then get it done. I have seen tremendous deliveries come from people that actually thought would almost have nothing to offer. So that's a technique that I'm currently using, that I've used in quite a number of companies that I've been privileged to consult for, and it has worked. And it will also make the HRs of these companies actually have peace of mind, because they no longer have to wait for a specific time in the year to review everything that has happened, but they begin to reward on a project by project basis. The next question someone might ask me is, oh, so do we have to always create a gigantic project? No. What I do is to convert tasks to projects. And that has built collaboration and teamwork. That has eliminated personal glory and self-gratification. And because that's something that has been crippling businesses, crippling companies, where I have to outshine you. So there's no longer the outshining you. There's okay, I'm so sorry. I thought my video was on. I'm not an angel. I'm a child. Okay, I hope we can see me. Now, there's no longer the outshining you. There's now the let's collaborate and do this thing as a team. Let's collaborate and do this thing as a team. So I have so magnified very little tasks to become projects. So you see input, you see insights. And then one thing I've noticed that this has done is within these mini groups and mini teams, they started developing their own reward system. I'll end with this example. So at work, I was trying to monitor operational efficiency, and my IT team came up with, I'm sure we all know, Zoho task management. And then Zoho, we onboarded the task management part of the solution. And then I noticed that a particular team, decided to start creating like a point system when they deliver on every task. They even created a game system within themselves. And I saw how excited the team members were. I mean, these are people that I'll basically have to use carrot and stick model to get people to keep doing their jobs, but no more. I've seen that making people own the job as though they are the owners of the companies is most effective than waiting for this cultural and stereotypical appraisal biannual or annual appraisal system that they begin to prepare for like a ritual, and at the end of the day it's me against my appraiser. No. So it also reduces the toxicity within organizations as well.
Amazing.
Let me stop here, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I mean, I'm liking the energy in the room. I'm liking how many people are also getting to see that there is always an answer. There's always a way. The way we've been doing it before does not necessarily mean this is the way to continue to do it. There are ingenuine ways to get things done. If KPIs are not working for us, turn every task into a project. Make a project of your challenge. Make a project of your goal. And if you treat it as such, chances are that because there's a magnified end, people then tend to bring in more to the table. Thank you, Ochi. Mr. Ajayi, let me come to you. Do you think traditional performance appraisal systems capture the full breadth of the value that high performers deliver? Do you think the way we conduct performance appraisal today, does it really capture the full value that high performers bring to the table?
Thank you,
Able
Doctor.
to turn on your camera, I would like to see you as well, if you are.
All right, thank you. Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Doctor. The traditional way does not capture all needed. Yeah. Obviously, we understand that our traditional performance management system capture quantifiable metrics.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, neglecting the aspect of, qualitative contributions. When I say qualitative contribution, I mean like something like teamwork, innovation, mentoring, and the like. So it is obvious that our traditional performance system does not capture it fully. So there is need to address the qualitative contribution in order to motivate and encourage others to do the needful. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Again, that's food for thought for those of us who lead organizations. If the traditional systems are not doing it, then it is time for us to begin to design the bespoke means to get the work done. It's not enough to use models. Okay, these are tested and tried models that the big companies are using. If it is not delivering value for you, it's got to do it. Particularly because the focus here is, are we acknowledging the people who are coming to the table? Somebody is a good team player. Yeah, there is no way there's no place in the performance appraisal system that does it. Maybe many of us are not doing 360-degree appraisal system. We're just doing the top to bottom kind. Maybe that's what is limiting us. Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Jai. Taiwo, let me come to you, and this is the final question for you and the panelists before I go to the audience for their questions. Taiwo, how can organizations, we're still talking about mechanisms that should be put in place to ensure fair and consistent recognition. How can organizations build cultures where recognition is not only top-down, but also peer-driven and inclusive? How do we ensure that recognition goes beyond top-down? I mean, until my manager recognizes me. How do we ensure that there is also what we call a peer mechanism for recognition and an inclusive recognition pattern? Over to you, Taiwo.
Thank you, Doctor. I think the key word there is peer review. So I would like to be very practical. We are a catering company. So we employ cooks, we employ kitchen assistants or commis, as it were, a lot. So there was a particular person that we employed last year, a guy. He seemed like a novice, but his attitude was very good, and he came across as someone who would be very, very swift in learning. So we employed him, and he started the work. Fast forward 6 months, we had people who were well experienced in the unit, and it wasn't the manager that was giving the feedback for this particular staff. It was his seniors, it was the team leaders, the supervisors, and his own colleagues. They were like, this guy can cook. This guy can cook jollof rice. Sometimes when you interview people, all of them will say they can cook. But when it's time to cook, stories will start, you start hearing different things. It was not the staff that was blowing his own trumpet. It was his colleagues, it was his superior. They were practically coming to HR to say, this guy is not a kitchen assistant, he's not a commis, he's a cook. So that feedback we took and we promoted the guy, and he was, recognized for his gift. It was his gift. He knew how to do it, even though we didn't know it at the time, but we took a chance on him and he paid off. So you have to have a framework, a platform where peers can review. We know that the managers, the line managers and all of that, they have, a greater stake. They are more likely to have a voice that top management will listen to. But we know that in these various departments, they know the high performers. They know. That's the interesting thing. Everybody inside, they will know. If you call one person now, they will know that this one is someone that is reliable. And they know the ones that are lazy. They know the ones that are not high performers. So why not just give them a voice? So it's very important to not only look at top-down appraisal method, look at peer-to-peer review, where you can get facts, undiluted facts that cannot be contradicted. So it will really help organizations to recognize our performance accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I mean, it's been a pleasure tonight having all our three panelists and all the co-contributors in the chat. Thank you so much for all your thoughts. So far, we have talked about critical things. The first set of things we talked about was understanding the challenge of recognition. Why do so many high performers find themselves overlooked? And we have realized that many people are either victims of a structural issue within the organization, or they are victims of leadership blind spots. Leaders just can't see them. And Femi said something very critical. He says, sometimes when you see your people, where you are working in, maybe on a plant or on a site, where the person supervising you or overlooking you is going to appraise you, is not physically present and cannot really readily see what you do, that may be a challenge. That may be a point for his blind spot. We have also identified that internal politics can be a challenge for recognition. And we talked about the power interest matrix. We said we recognized here and recommended that every one of us should get onto the power interest matrix. You can just Google what the power interest matrix is. It's a good framework for stakeholder management to know how to really navigate politics within the system and give people based on their interests and not based on what you think is the value. Taiwo was very obvious and vocal about the fact that sometimes you possibly give value and you think you're getting value, whereas the value is not resonating with the people who matter within the system. We also identified personality dynamics as a challenge and some cultural factors. We went down to talk about the role of the individual, and Ochanya gave us a long list of things that were your responsibilities. I mean, ways you can advocate for yourselves at work. One of the things that stood out there was volunteering. And she said, don't assume that people will always call you. High performers always want to be called upon. They want to be invited to the table. And she said to us, hey, don't wait to be invited. Oh. If you've got something to offer, go ahead and offer it. Offer yourself as a living sacrifice, if that's what it is. And then Taiwo really talked about the behaviors and mindset. The imposter syndrome is there. Sometimes you are too withdrawn to want to get credit for the work you've done. You're introverted and all that. And Femi, you were very particular talking about the place for mentors. Some people with the voices or advocates for you in the rooms where you are not. One of the things Ochanya also mentioned was ensure that you are in good terms, if not just with your manager, but with the people within their own circle of influence. So where the voice of your manager is not loud, if you're being good with the people that surround them and the people that they also acknowledge their thought, you will find out that the yeses will be more than the nos, quoting her directly. And finally, we talked about the solutions at the organizational level. We said you can make your task. Ochanya, thank you so much for that contribution. Magnify the task and make it a project. Perhaps it allows you to bring more to the table that others will see. Femi was very critical about the fact that the traditional performance appraisal systems do not capture maybe the qualitative side of the work that we do. We measure things quantitatively more than we do the qualitative side. And maybe we all need to start to think around it. For those of us here who lead organizations or have responsibility to coordinate for organizations. And Taiwo wrapped up by saying, we need a peer-to-peer review mechanism. And I think the KPI, their performance appraisal system that allow us to do 360-degree is something we should pay attention to. We all need to pay attention to 360-degree performance appraisals. Is one way to ensure that we get to give peer recognition to our people. Having said that, ladies and gentlemen, we're about to close tonight. I'm going to take a few questions. There's a question in the chat already. I think, Chineye, you dropped your question. Chineye, do you want to ask, or do you want me to read it out? Chineye, do you want to ask? You want to unmute your mic and ask? I know that question is meant for Chaya. It came right after she said it. What's your choice, Chineye?
Hi, good evening. Okay.
Hi.
So my question,
go ahead, please.
Yeah, so my question was around the fact, and I think it was latching on to what Achaya had mentioned around ensuring that your voice is heard during meetings or during roundtable discussions with decision makers. And I was asking, if I work in an organization that I don't have access to speaking with decision makers, so it's a highly bureaucratic environment where I have to go through different layers before I can even get to speak to somebody at the top, how then am I able to bring forth the value that I add to an organization, or how is the decision maker able to identify the value that I bring on board if I don't have that kind of access? So is there an alternative way of projecting my value in that instance? Thank you.
All right, thank you, Chichi. Ochi?
Okay, thank you, Chine. I thank you for that question. So I would also use examples how I've also handled situations where I didn't have direct access to the MD or the CEO, as the case may be. So one, let's take the case study of me being in good terms with my line manager or my immediate manager, as the case may be. I convert my line manager to being my advocate. One of the panelists this evening talked about having mentors and then having advocates. he said that advocates are who would speak for you, mentors are those that would guide you, if I'm summarizing what he said. Now, my line managers would automatically become my advocates. How do I even make them my advocates? Because I also don't want us to live here assuming that, oh, my line manager, in fact, we already assume that my Oga is not speaking for me now. It's because he's not speaking for me. No. There's a responsibility that you have as well to make your line manager your advocate. You know this thing they used to call in government robbing the palm, right? What do you do for your line manager? Oh, your line manager comes back from management meeting and says, we have a lot to do. These are the things that the management is expecting of us. Do you just wait to be assigned your own task, or you naturally, or you would naturally just put out all of the tasks that he has come back with and say, oh, sir, I have put this in this template. These are the actionable steps. This is the timeline for delivery. I mean, naturally, your line manager will have an interest in you and will begin to project your course. That's one thing. The second one is, I've already mentioned it earlier, is on building influence around your network. So I don't necessarily, right, have to meet with the CEO. But guess what? Everybody will have to talk about me. Because, oh, on this thing, it was a child that helped us resolve it. Oh, she was the one that resolved that conflict. She spoke to that client. She closed that deal. So sales is talking about you. Finance is talking about you. Positively, please. Audit is talking about you. HR is singing your praises. I mean, the CEO hear about you. So it's also not just about you meeting the CEO. Another thing is leveraging on formal channels. One thing I also do when I have a line manager that I've probably fallen out with, what I do is to ensure that in all of my achievements and all of my innovative ideas, I put top management in copy of my mails. So I'm sending a strategic course of action to my line manager that I know that my line manager might not be inclined with. I copy top management. And I copy them in such a way that my line manager is also aware that they're in copy. That already stiffens his hand to listen to me, because guess what happens? If he doesn't, they will call his attention to it. And in no time, what I do is not because I'm going to throw my line manager under the bus. No, I will ensure that he takes the glory more than even me that performed that task. Before you know it, he begins to soar so high and he wants to take me along. A very typical example I would give, and stop here, was when we handled one project with the government far back as 2012. And there was this line manager I was working with. I was not so inclined with the project, but I tagged along with somebody else. But like you mentioned, bureaucratic environment, there was no way that I could just start reporting to the other individual. But what did I do? For every suggestion I had, and it was an IT company, for every idea I had, I always would tag the CTO. So I always tagged him. I always put him in copy of every correspondence. When it was time to assign a staff to the government as the link bridge, the only person that came to his mind is, there's one lady that's always sending a mail. It's like, this lady will be the best bet for this thing. But my line manager at the time said, oh no, she's not skilled. She's not trained in technology. She's just an administrator. She will not be great at it. What happened was that the CTO combed all my emails. I'm telling you, 2012, all my emails. And at the end of the day, I was the liaison for that particular contract we got with the government. I'll just stop there. So there are other ways, there are other methods, that you can take advantage of out when you know that you will not be privy to sit with the business owner. Thank you.
Amazing. Today's been a lot. I mean, Taiwo, you want to respond to that question as well?
Absolutely. I want to just let me add a little to what has been said. I mean,
Okay.
there's a popular saying that say, if you no connect, you no go collect. If you had value, you cannot hide. You can't hide. you have to connect with the right people. If you don't have access to the top management, if you don't have access to the MD or GM, you have access to those who have access. So the question is, what relationships do you have? Are you busy building relationships where there are no value? Because we all know the saying that your network determines your net worth. So if you're always moving around with people with low performance, even if you're a high performer, people will see you with low performance, and then it's just a matter of time before you become like them. So your value must be projected alongside those who will project you. There is no way, oh, do people ask you for help? Do people come to you because they know that you can do certain things for them? If nobody is coming to you for anything, maybe you are just helping yourself, you are on your own. But if you are adding value and people don't seek you out, they don't seek you out, seek them out. Be doing something. Even when you think you are not going to be appreciated for it, it may be now, you never know when the time will come, when someone will speak for you, when you are not even there. So you have to build the connection. The relationship will not come to you. You have to go get the connection. Trust me, if you make the right connections and build the right relationship, it will speak for you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I mean, help me thank these panelists in the chat. Can you please help me use emojis to just, clap and say a few things, a few kind words to them in the chat. They've been fantastic tonight. Add value. If you don't connect, you will not collect. Okay. Amazing. Tayo saw there, said Oshanya subtle insubordination. At least you're magnifying the work you do. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. We'd like to bring this meeting to a close, but before we leave, just a few announcements. And it's important you please wait to listen to these announcements. Again, let me just close that session with Taiwo. Thank you for what you said. It reminds me of one quote I normally will say. If it takes you too long to get what you want, your network is poor. If it takes you too long to get what you want, your network is poor. Please always be in relationship with people that can be your voice in rooms where you are not present. A room is a room where the CEO is. A room is a room where other people, decision makers are. If you will know, you will not get there. There are people who gain access to the room. Try as much as possible to be within their relationship and add value. Again, we want to invite you, all of you on this call, to join us as the Nathan Lidgate does what we call the workplace survey. We're in round 4 of our survey. And Dolapo, my colleague, will be dropping a link in the chat for you right now to please help us complete this survey. The survey is for you to determine how ready are the workers for the future. Workplace Readiness Survey 2025 for employed graduates. If you have graduates that you work with, or you are a recent graduate, we invite you to take this assessment. It will be very helpful for us. It's on the screen. I'm sure Dolapo will just drop the link in the chat right away for you. Also, employers and hiring managers, we want you also to have your own link separately. Again, we want to find out what exactly do you look out for when you're hiring the people in 2025 and beyond. What are you looking out for and the people that you are hiring? Dolako, are you helping to drop the link in the chat already? I have not seen it. Please do so. Drop the link in the chat for the surveys so that our panelists can take, our members here can take it. Come September, October 2025, we will be having what we call Becoming a Consultant to Kings. And it's simply about how to solve problems for people of influence, how to solve problems for people with influence, how to help people with influence solve their problems. That's what it means by becoming a consultant to kings. We are taking interest now because it's not going to be a large meeting, but we want people who are able to commit their own resources to it, to please participate. So please, in the chat, in the link there, register your interest. Becoming a consultant to Kings is coming up September, October 2025. We want to have a room. It's a physical meeting. For those of you who are far away, we possibly will have a hybrid session for you. It's going to be a physical meeting where we're going to be discussing how do we solve problems for people who have got influence. There are many people around us with great influence. They have challenges. How do we become a consultant to people who are powerful and have got influence? In the course of this conversation, many people referenced resources. Femi was talking about a mentor, how to find a mentor to help you solve some of your challenges. There are books on the screen right now that we're recommending that you get a hold on. Forget a mentor, find a sponsor is a book by Sylvia Hewlett. It's a new way to fast track your career. For those of you who are looking for greater visibility, this book may be very good for you. Taiwo talked about Failing Forward. That's a book by John C. Maxwell, How to Turn Your Mistakes into Stepping Stones for Success. And there is another book by Sylvia Hewlett titled The Sponsor Effect, How to Be a Better Leader by Investing in Other People. The Sponsor Effect, that is, those of us who have got influence, how do we use our influence to give visibility to those who are high performers today or who are working around us? Okay, thank you, Dolakpo. Dolakpo has dropped the link for the surveys. We're looking forward to you taking the surveys for us and helping us to amplify the survey. All right, thank you. And one final thing, what is happening in June? June 2025, we're having Workplace Conversation 4.0. Are you excited about it? 4.0, 4.0. Okay, somebody's asking, can I help you type the title of the books? Let me go back to the screen that has the title of the books. The books are here on the screen. The books are here on the screen. Okay. Some people are already in my DMs and talking to me about getting the books for them. Okay, no worries. Can somebody help us chat and type the books, the title of the books? Find a mentor, or forget a mentor, find a sponsor. These books are good. I've read all of them. You need to get it. All right, somebody's asking a question saying, how do you manage the pressure of having colleagues see you as a threat because you're a high performer? That's a big one. That's a big one. How do you deal with colleagues? Can I recommend to that person to get the conversation we had on Workplace Conversation 2.0, how to work with difficult people, how to work with difficult people. There's a video, there's Workplace Conversation 2.0. Dolakbo, get the person who asked that question, if you can get the person's ID, we will send you the link of that video so you can, it's not something we can take in a short conversation. We identified a couple of suggestions how to deal with difficult people. Okay. Somebody's asking for ebook. Please, go to Amazon to get the ebook. And if anybody has it, you can connect. Okay, let's wrap this up. There's work tomorrow. Let's wrap this up. Let's bring this to a close. Workplace Conversation 4.0. Who is excited? It's an all women's affair, except for Dr. Ludayo, who is pulling the women stuff. It's an all women affair. The women are happy here. The ladies, are you happy to participate in this? One of our speakers for next for next month is on the call. Olaito, do you want to say hello so that they hear your voice before next month? Just say hello. Hello.
Hello, good evening, everybody. Good
And
evening,
you're
Doctor.
looking forward to seeing you next month, is it?
Yeah, I'm so excited already.
Okay,
Thank you so much for having me.
And you're going to be the first person from the public sector joining this conversation. We are excited to have
wow.
the public sector come in.
Oh, wow. I'm
Yes.
excited. Thank you for the opportunity.
You're welcome. So next month also, we're going to be having Deborah John Mote. She's the People and Culture Partner at Perfective Van Mill, Nigeria. She works with a company that makes sweets, you know, all the candies, and they make billions of naira just selling sweets. And then we also have Esther Daly. Esther Daly is Human Resources Manager for SnapNet Limited. She'll be joining us also next month. You can begin to register now. It's Sunday, June 29. Workplace Conversations always hold on the last Sunday of every month. We always want people to get prepared and have insights in their head ahead of Monday work, ahead of a new month, as the case may be. Olaito Oladimeji, Associate Member of the CIPM. She's a Senior Administrative and HR Officer at the Lagos State Government. She's recently hosted me to a training on Friday. She was part of a boot camp that I held on for all learning professionals in Lagos State. They all came together for a session, and Olaito was one of those critical people there. So we're looking forward to next month. And the theme of next month is employee well-being. Is it a flux or a fact? Employee well-being. Are we just deceiving ourselves, or do we really have issues that we're dealing with? And this is how we come to an end of this session. I want to thank you. I want to thank everyone for joining us. It's been a pleasure. All our panelists, thank you again. Can you all come up again? Panelists, can you come up on screen? I want to take a picture. If you can't turn on your camera so we can just take a picture of ourselves. Thank you, Femi. Thank you so much. I've kept you in your office for so long.
You're welcome.
Achanya, where are you? Taiwo, where are you? While I want all our our people to keep thanking this panelists for me, today you made it a huge delight. Thank you. I missed all your challenges. I missed all the burdens that you all are carrying. You've made this a great place to be. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm about to take the picture. Taiwo, I hope you will like your picture afterward. Okay, so let's take our picture. Smile to my camera now. Ochanya, just smile, 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 smile. Okay, here we go. Good. Thank you, everyone. See you on June 29 as we have the Workplace Conversation 4.0. For all our leaders who joined, thank you so much. All our stakeholders who joined, thank you so much. For all those who came from abroad, Dr. Okwe, I see you. Ife Dakwo, I see you as well. Thank you for joining from over the seas. God bless you. Mr. Fagius Ishel, thank you so much also for being here. All my friends from ITL, Jonah, thank you for being a constant person. Lookman, thank you for joining as well. God bless you. And Cam, thank you. Joshua, thank you. Deborah, my colleague, thank you. My dear analyst. Bukola Onoye, I'm still with you. No matter what message I passed on to you, I'm still with you. I will see you during the week. Thank you also very much. Dunsi, thank you. TSA, thank you. You together with your husband, thank you for joining. You one, thank you. Vanessa, my friend and my colleague, my doctor, thank you also for joining. See you all next month. Have a very good evening and ensure you let people know the value you're bringing to the table. Have a good night.